Namaste. Thank you for inviting me to speak on the Gita. I have written many books on the Gita, and I want to summarize for you some of the main points. Today, I will be brief. Some basic ideas that we would like to mention today include Lok Sangrah, that is good of all, and Desh Kal Patra, that is adjusting our programs according to changes in the times. In addition, we want to discuss 5 main projects that apply these principles. The 5 projects are: number 1, plant-based food for all; number 2, healthcare according to vegan doctors, focusing on prevention; number 3, broad-based education for boys and girls; number 4, human rights according to United Nations; and number 5, protection from global warming according to United Nations. So, first begin with the Lok Sangrah. Lok Sangrah is the original expression used in the Gita. This has been a comparatively neglected area of study in the Gita scholarship and in Hindu thought. Much of the early understanding of Hinduism in the West was related to the individual's power of controlling thought, emotions, and inner health. This is indeed an important contribution of Hinduism, most recently popularized in the concept of mindfulness. The concept of Lok Sangrah provides a wider perspective in placing the individual and his or her ethical principles in a social and universal context. Lok Sangrah derives from Sanskrit words lok means world, and Sangrah meaning protection. It basically refers to the welfare and well-being of the entire world. The world, in this sense, important to note, not only comprises of human beings, but also of animals and the environment. It signifies an ethical ideal to which we should all strive, to participate in only those activities which benefit other sentient and insentient beings and creates harmony in the universe. Lok Sangrah has 3 main components. Number 1, creating and maintaining harmonious relationships between people from our families and friends, extending to our neighbors, fellow countrymen, and then all nations, being compassionate to all, treating all with respect, and giving a helping hand whenever needed. Number 2, being kind and compassionate to animals with which we share the environment. Number 3, preserving the environment from pollution, avoiding exploitation of natural resources, supporting reforestation, recycling, and cleanup programs. Most importantly, being mindful of our own contribution to environmental degradation through our carelessness in using, for example, plastic items, our criminal wastage of water, excessive use of energy in the home, etc. Lok Sangrah is used in the Gita to revive the Vedic message Sarve Bhavantu Sukhine. 7 verses occurring in the middle of chapter 3 of the Gita, verses number 20 to 26 can be called Lok Sangrah verses. The word Lok Sangrah meaning good of the world. In verse 20, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, in order to determine the right course of action, take into account Lok Sangrah also. Perfect karma yogis like Janak observe this path and they were able to attain Sansiddhi, that is Shreyas. In Sanskrit, karmanaivihi sansiddhi astita janakadaya lok sangrah mevapi sampashan kartu marasi. In verse 22, Lord Krishna says, I work for Lok Sangrah as my spontaneous activity. There is not for me any work in the 3 worlds which has to be done, nor anything to be obtained which has not been obtained. Yet I am engaged in karma, that is action. In the verses 23 and 24, Lord Krishna continues to say that the works were Lok Sangrah without weariness, because he did not do so, all the world would perish and we would be held responsible for creating confusion and destroying life. Both Swami Vivekananda and Gandhiji used the concept of Lok Sangrah in their writings and as ethical standard. Vivekananda used a simple synonym, Jagat Hit, meaning welfare of the world. In my books, I have explained the full meaning and understanding of the term Lok Sangrah and have elaborated the concept in my academic studies in 17 books written over 40 years in Hindi, Sanskrit, and English. My wife, Urmila Agarwal, has also explained this concept through her poetic writings, which have been included in earlier publications and again in my latest book, Vedanta in the Service of Mankind. Additionally, my wife's vegan and vegetarian recipes have inspired us to live a more wholesome life with nutrition and peace, and they provide a practical way for our audience to follow these principles in our daily lives. In the light of these verses, we can define Lok Sangrah as any work that, on the one hand, prevents the world's destruction and social confusion, and on the other hand, contributes to the world's protection and social development. Swami Vivekananda worked hard to spread the teaching and real meaning of Desh Kal Patra. He attached great importance to Gita's teaching of Desh Kal Patra. The word meaning Desh, that is place, Kal meaning time, and Patra meaning individual. Desh Kal Patra therefore recognizes that all aspects of life are influenced by these factors and can determine the circumstances that an individual can and cannot control. Swami Vivekananda said that the teaching of Desh Kal Patra is essential in keeping our work, including the principle of Lok Sangrah, relevant to the changing time. Next, I will discuss 5 main global projects that apply these principles. To speak about these global issues, I will apply the ethical principles derived from the concept of Lok Sangrah for the global issues that confront us in the world today, and which the United Nations, in their role as the world's universal global organization, has become the foremost forum to address issues that transcend national boundaries. These UN agencies ensure the rights of all to food, health, education, conditions of employment, and so on, as well as international human rights law that lays down obligation of national governments to act in certain ways or to refrain from certain acts in order to promote and protect human rights and fundamental freedoms of individuals or groups. The United Nations Charter stands for the inherent dignity and the equal and inalienable rights of all members of the human family. Upholding these liberal human rights principles as the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace in the world is fundamental to every undertaking of the United Nations. Apply the very same ethical principles which underlie the Gita's Lok Sangrah. Firstly, healthy food for all, especially emphasizing plant-based food, which is more sustainable for the planet and reduces cruelty to animals. Global evidence suggests that 1 in 9 people go to bed hungry. Even more, 1 in 3 suffer from some form of malnutrition. The suggestion to establish a multilateral food aid program was made by the US in 1960. Responding to this suggestion in 1961, the United Nations established the World Food Program, or WFP, as an experiment to provide food aid through the UN system. Today, the World Food Program continues and grows as a humanitarian organization addressing hunger, reducing food insecurity for vulnerable people in emergencies all over the world. The World Food Program strives to eradicate hunger and malnutrition with the ultimate goal of eliminating the need for aid itself. Eradicating hunger and malnutrition are some of the greatest challenges of our time. Not only do the consequences of not having sufficient quantity or the having of unhealthy food cause death, suffering, and poor health, they also slow progress in many other areas of development like education and employment. In 2015, the global community adopted 17 global goals for sustainable development to improve people's lives by 2030. Goal 2, zero hunger, pledges to end hunger, achieve food security, improve nutrition, and promote sustainable agriculture, and is the priority of the World Food Program by 2030. Nearly all researchers on the topic of world hunger agree that while there are many complex layers of influences related to hunger, and that war and repressive government regimes as well as climate extremes all play a role. The most significant factors are poverty, lack of natural resources, and inefficient use of resources. The most significant and long-term factor that can be changed is with the development of new plant-based organic agriculture systems and the education of people to make this possible. It is what we have the most control over with the most profound impact. The concept of Lok Sangra has a profound application to world hunger and food production for the well-being of all. Next, the importance of healthcare examined from the Lok Sangraha concept of the well-being of the entire world. Health for all is a global health movement undertaken by the World Health Organization, that is WHO, in the late 20th century. In 1977, the World Health Assembly decided that the major social goal of governments and WHO should be the attainment by all people of the world by the year 2000 of a level of health that would permit them to lead a socially and economically productive life. In 1981, the Assembly unanimously adopted a global strategy for health for all by the year 2000. This was the birth of the Health for All movement. By health means a personal state of well-being, not just the availability of health services, a state of health that enable a person to lead a socially and economically productive life. Health for all implies the removal of the obstacles to health, that is to say, the elimination of malnutrition, ignorance, contaminated drinking water, and unhygienic housing quite as much as it does the solution of purely medical problems such as lack of doctors, hospital beds, drugs, and vaccines. The adoption of health for all by government implies a commitment to promote the advancement of all citizens on a broad front of development and a resolution to encourage the individual citizen to achieve a higher quality of life. The basis for the Health for All strategy is primary health care. This does not, of course, mean an end to disease and disability, but what it means is that resources for health are fairly and equitably distributed, and essential health care is accessible to everyone. It means that people recognize that ill health is not inevitable and that they can shape their own lives and the lives of their families free from avoidable burden of disease. Some progress toward these goals has been made, but the goals have clearly not yet been attained on a global level. In many countries, including the USA, for example, it cannot be said that the resources for health are equitably distributed and that essential health care is accessible to everyone. In this regard, when it was revealed some years back that former President Clinton's heart problem was relieved by converting to a plant-based vegan diet, many universities in the USA and abroad started scientific studies to check whether a vegan diet is healthier than an animal-based diet. Will Tuttle, who has authored the groundbreaking book, The World Peace Diet, suggests a pathway for how people as a species might move our consciousness forward so that we can be more free, more intelligent, more loving, and happier in the choice we make. In India, Dr. Nandita Shah, another champion of the vegan diet, reversed diabetes through a plant-based diet, becoming a strong voice and advocate for the vegan movement. The government of India awarded her the Nari Shakti Award, which is the highest honor for women in the country. Again, these initiatives are clearly in line with the concept of Lok Sabha we should all strive to adhere. Now let us take the third topic of interest in the pursuit of good of all. This is broad-based education for boys and girls in particular. Education transforms lives and is at the heart of UNESCO's mission to build peace, eradicate poverty, and drive sustainable development. UNESCO believes that education is a human right for all throughout life and that access must be matched by quality. In an earlier book I wrote, The World Peace Agenda, published in 2007, I made a plea to UNESCO to emphasize world peace as one of the aims of education everywhere. UNESCO believes that knowledge and learning are humanity's greatest renewable resources for responding to challenges and inventing alternatives. Yet education does more than respond to a changing world. Education transforms the world. Looking to 2050 and beyond, the future of education, learning to become initiative, seeks to reimagine how education and knowledge can contribute to the global common good. This initiative will mobilize the many rich ways of being and knowing in order to leverage humanity's collective intelligence. It relies on a broad, open, consultative process that involves youth, educators, civil society, governments, business, and other stakeholders. The work will be guided by a high-level international commission of thought leaders from diverse fields and different regions of the world. The future of education, learning to become initiative will catalyze a global debate on how knowledge and learning can shape the future of humanity and the planet. Turning now to the topic of human rights, according to United Nations, Mahatma Gandhi, a practical Vedantin, set a unique example through his non-violent struggle to obtain human rights for the poor in India and South Africa. Gandhi's struggle is described in one of my earlier books called Practical Vedanta Movement. According to United Nations, human rights are inherent to all human beings, whatever the inequalities, such as nationality, place of residence, sex, national or ethnic origin, color, religion, language, socio-economic status, health, or any other status. We are all equally entitled to our human rights without discrimination, and these rights are all interrelated, interdependent, and indivisible. By guaranteeing life, liberty, equality, and security, human rights protect people against abuse by those who are more powerful. Notions of human rights remain strong through the role of the United Nations, and its agencies remain critically important throughout the world. The principle of universality of human rights is the cornerstone of international human rights law. I argue that the principle of Lok Sangrah can serve to strengthen the human rights agenda in the 21st century. My previous work discusses this aspect of Lok Sangrah at length in many of my books. The last topic I want to touch upon is that of protection from global warming. Numerous scientists working in different parts of the world have confirmed that the world has a limited time to reduce the percentage of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. A global shift towards a vegan diet is vital to save the world from hunger, reduce poverty, and the worst impacts of climate change. A UN report from 2010 has said impacts from agriculture are expected to increase substantially due to population growth, increasing consumption of animal products. Unlike fossil fuels, it's difficult to look for alternatives. People have to eat. A substantial reduction of impacts would only be possible with a substantial worldwide diet change away from animal products to plant-based food. Finally, throughout my long research on the Gita and other Hindu texts, I have found it's very encouraging that the ethical perspective of Lord Nagra, written in the Bhagavad Gita so long ago, aligns with the classical liberal principles behind the various UN agencies such as World Food Programme, WHO, UNESCO, UNICEF, ILO, etc., all founded in 20th century. As a major ethical principle, Lok Sangra is as relevant today as when it was written in the Gita. During this difficult period of COVID 19 and its new variants, controversies arise throughout the world. Distrust in science, demonstrations against lockdowns, school closures, the wearing of masks, social distancing, refusal to get vaccinated, and so on. Viewed from the principle of Lok Sangra, it is clear that we must look to science and realize that to defeat the pandemic, we have to go beyond our self-interest and family or nationalistic interest. We must realize that we all live in the same world and it's not enough to vaccinate and assure the health of our own one country as the virus and is spreading throughout the world. It is impossible to close borders to be safe. We are all in this together. The solution is to care for all on this planet and to ensure that vaccinations are available to everybody, just as in the case of the 5 topics. I repeat, plant-based diet, healthcare, education, human rights, and climate change. I hope action will be taken to make it a success. Now, before closing, I thank you for listening to me. Namaste.